The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
I'm a big fish in a small pond. Got my days free and the nights long. I create my own reality. Who I am is fine with me. As famous as I wanna be. Who I am is fine with me. To I am. To I am. Who I am.
Okay. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Hey, everybody, it's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. Welcome to episode 24 of What's the Story with Maria. And it is the day after Christmas, December 26th, 2017. And we welcome you. You see, I have my little Christmas decorations in the background. I have my little Charlie Brown tree with my Maryland ornaments and my Avon lady house back there that my cousin Kathy, when she was an Avon lady, got for me, and my candles, and I'm a huge holiday person. I love it. So I'm decorated up. Joe Savino has joined us. Chris DePiero, I was just talking about you to my guest tonight, who is going to join us momentarily. Marilena Savino has joined us, and good thing, Marilena, because guess who's calling in soon? Marisa. Marisa is my cousin, who is so great. Gia has joined us. That's Marisa's daughter. So Marisa is she's my famous cousin. She's one of my funniest cousins, and she has some stories to tell always. Dennis Martinez has joined us. So here's what I want to talk about, and then I'm going to bring Fran on. So I am a huge fan of Christmas, of course, and everybody knows I'm Italian. They can see that from another planet. They know I'm Italian. So what are Italians famous for on Christmas and Christmas Eve? I mean, we always eat. That's our thing, right? Food is our thing. And we celebrate the Feast of the Seven Fishes. So a lot of people, Italians know that. They're like, you're going home? Yeah, for the Feast of the Seven Fishes. Yeah, well, how many fish? What'd you have for fish? Now, here's the thing on the seven fishes. You don't have to just have seven fishes. But you can't have any less than seven, okay? Like, if you have less than seven fishes, somebody's going to, give you the eye. But that's never happened in an Italian house. We never run out of food, nor do we not make the fishes. So what does that mean? That means that Christmas Eve is a big deal. Everybody tries to come home. It's like the one day. If you got to pick one day to go home to see your family, that would be the one day. And my mother, when she was alive, used to cook all of it. And I have no clue how she did that. But she would cook, and some of the fishes that you have are, the number one important thing that I find is a constant is cod. And the Italians call that bacala. And in Spanish it's bacalao. You'll see that a lot in the Spanish neighborhoods, but they don't have the Feast of the Seven Fishes. But cod, shrimp, calamari. Calamari and cod are the two that you have to have. Then you can add shrimp, squid, flounder, smelts, there's you could go on and on and on. Clams. So what did I make this? So what we did now, because my mom used to make this gigantic bouillabaisse, and bouillabaisse is a tomato-based kind of, it's almost like a soup, and some people call it a soupa de pesce, which means soup of fish, and you have all these fish in there, and then with the broth, it's really delicious, and you pour it over linguine. That's like a big deal. And you could get all your seven fishes in there. But, of course, we're going to have more and more and more. So I did a little research, because a lot of my American friends, or friends that are not Italian, said to me, well, what does that mean, this feast? Where did it start and why? So I looked it up. I know what we used to just do it, because my mother used to tell me that where they were from, see, this is a southern Italian tradition. Now, it's not a tradition in Italy, which I found out. It's what the Italians brought over here when they migrated. They brought, when you go somewhere new, you take what you know. And, they built these communities. And I'm from the North End originally. of Boston. And I know here there's Little Italy, there's Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, and Philly. I have a lot of Italian friends in Philly, a lot of Italian friends in Jersey. And so they came from all these different regions, right? But they brought the traditions of their hometown. And so one of the traditions are, a lot of the Italians, of course, are Catholic. So Catholics would fast before communion. So on Fridays, for instance, you could not eat meat. And a lot of these people know. I went to Catholic school when I was a kid. Now I don't think anybody does it anymore. Jeffrey Campbell has joined us. Gregory Patterson has joined us. Porter William Brooks, Wesley Morley has joined us. So I was talking about the Feast of the Seven Fishes with the Italians. So what they would do is, it comes from a tradition of fasting before a holy day. So the holiest day of the year, of course, to the Catholics is the birth of Jesus Christ, which would be Christmas Day. And Christmas Eve was the ultimate last day and the fasting didn't mean you couldn't eat. It meant you couldn't eat meat. So they would have fish. So when the Italian Americans, they usually came here because of great poverty in Italy, and they migrated here for a better life. When they got here and they worked and worked and worked, they started to realize that they could buy more than they were buying there. So the reason it's so abundant and plentiful and rich, this Feast of the Seven Fishes, is because they could actually, for the first time in a lot of their lives, afford it. Okay, you know who that is? You know who's calling in? My cousin Marisa, just in time. Hi, Marisa.
Hi.
Can you hear me, honey?
Yes.
All right, so I'm so excited. Oh my God.
Am I calling too early?
No, you're perfect. You're perfect. So I was just I'll tell you why this is perfect. Because I was just talking about the Feast of the Seven Fishes and all the different fish that are involved and what it meant for Italians coming over here and bringing their traditions, and that when they finally got here, this was the land of opportunity, and it was a big deal to have all those fish on that night and not show off, but cook for your friends and your neighbors and your family. And I got to tell you, and one of my favorite cooks was your mom, and
that was her specialty.
That was her specialty. Fish was her specialty. So we've talked about this before. My favorite thing that your mother made was and no one else has ever made it since your mom. It's the calamari pie.
Yes, Laciella. That's a Gaeta thing.
That's a Gaeta thing. So where is Gaeta on the boot? That's that's near the ocean, right?
Right, it's right on the coast. There's a naval base there.
Right on the coast. Okay.
I think that's an hour and a half, maybe from Naples. Maybe 2 hours from Naples.
2 hours from Naples.
So
okay.
He was brought up with this, and I think that's what it's over.
Well, my mother used to say that they from Gaeta, if you were from Gaeta, that was your specialty. You made the best fish. So I used to love to go to your mother's when she was making that pie, and no one's ever made it since then. It was like she would describe that pie.
Okay, first of all, yes, you saw it in the summer a lot too. Whenever there was a big catch, like they would make the calamari pie. So
Okay.
it's basically a stuffed pie. It's like a quiche.
Like a
but with
quiche.
a cover on top.
Okay.
So it's a pie that you said, they would use escalope pie, they would use zucchini pie, and if you wanted that in the summertime, whatever was abundant in the garden,
Right.
it would stuff into a pie. And in the feast in Gaeta, you would see a lot of those. My mother stuffed hers with calamari. She made it a little bit spicy. So
I loved it. That's what I loved about it. It was spicy.
But listen, newsflash.
Newsflash. What is
I
it?
learned how to make it this year.
What? Did you have it at your house this year?
I learned how to make it this year, and I brought it to my brother.
I can't believe I missed it. Oh my God, I'm so mad at myself.
I'm going to make you one. But I thought, I got a little feedback where you could tweak it a bit.
Oh, well, that's what happens. Listen, nobody since your mother has made that pie, so this is epic.
Yeah.
It's epic. And I was upset because yesterday I was trying to go visit Marisa, and then what happened was there was a snowstorm Christmas morning, which is beautiful. It's White Christmas in New England. I mean, people write songs about this stuff, and then it happens and you think, oh my God, I got to go shovel. So
Right.
I was out there shoveling, and it was like 3 hours later. Then my 81-year-old dad, came out with a snowblower, kind of trying to be like, you're laughing because you know my dad, right? So
The neighbors, I'm sure he did.
exactly. So this is what happened. I said, Dad, I'm here now because I live in New York. I don't always get a chance to help my dad. My sister does everything. So I said, let me just shovel your driveway. No, I got it. I said, let me shovel the driveway and the walkway. Fine. So he just walked away in defeat. Now, mind you, he hurt his leg, so he was walking all crazy, right? He's 81 years old. He's got a bad ear. He doesn't hear out of one ear. So he's always off balance. I always think he's going to fall. And anyway, so I'm shoveling, right? And all of a sudden I hear, and there he comes. He comes from behind the house with this gigantic snowblower, like a crazy person. And we can't hear each other because the snowblower is loud. And I'm like, Dad, I got it. And he's like, go out of the way. And he almost hit my car with the snowblower. I'm thinking, it's Elise. If you hit my car, I'm going to kill you. But there he is. And I'm thinking he's going to fall over. The snowblower is going to chew his leg. I'm seeing all these crazy things. And then he did the neighbors after that, Marisa. How did you know that? He did.
Because he would, but that's what we do.
That's what we do.
That's what you do.
That's it. So now I want you to tell it.
We'll go on the street, we'll go all around, and you take care of the neighbors.
Then you take care of the neighbors. See, that's what we do in New England. So Marisa, honey, I want you to tell me what you told me yesterday because I was laughing in my car. So I called Marisa from the road because I'm going back to New York, and I missed Marisa, and I was really upset because our clocks were off, and she was one place and I was one place. So we're talking, and what did you tell me about the lunch lady? I said, Marisa, you should be on my show. And what did you tell me about the lunch lady?
Okay, so I'm the Italian lunch lady in town.
You're the Italian lunch lady. All right.
I'm the Italian lunch lady in town. You know, I'm not a petite flower. I'm a full-figured gal. Clearly, I have listened to working people. I have my review. You know, the boss is like, this is great, this is good, this is a nice thing, this is a happy day, you're cut back on the portion.
Cut back? So your boss... Wait. Wait. So your boss at the lunch lady place told you to cut back on the portions?
Yeah. You know, I wanted to do a portion control. I'm like, come on, what are you... 2 ounces, 4 ounces, what's that? It's like a big fucking roll with no work in it, you know what I mean?
So an Italian lunch lady is not going to follow the portion control rules, right?
No, I'm sorry.
Not going to happen. Oh my God. Yeah. And also, we talk a lot. I mean, I don't get political on this show because I just try to stay away from it. But I will say that I was very excited because last year during the Women's March, I was in Washington, and you and your kids you marched in Boston, right?
Yeah.
So that was really something. We're united like that. And Uncle Nicky was out there too. So now you've always been the kind of mom too that took your kid, like Gia played softball, right? You're always like a sports mom, right?
Yeah.
So you're used to, because I said you should come visit me in New York, and I said, listen, I got a pull-out couch, and just we'll figure it out. You're like, what, are you kidding me? Because you've always traveled with your kids, right?
Yeah, I can sleep anywhere. I can sleep.
You can sleep standing up.
I can sleep. We all do it in the bakery here.
I know.
In the bakery.
So let me just fill them in. So when we were little, so Marisa's dad and my mom were brothers and sisters, and now they are brothers and sisters up in heaven. And so when they were little, when Marisa and her brothers were little, my Uncle John and my Aunt Louisa owned a bakery called Idolo Bakery in Medford, Massachusetts. And it was the most amazing bread. And my Uncle Johnny would deliver it sometimes to us early morning, like the crack of dawn. You would smell. I still love the smell of bread, fresh baked bread, because it reminds me of my uncle. And we would go to see to the bakery at night when it was closed, but they were making bread, right?
Right. So yeah, because he's in wholesale.
Wholesale, right?
Work, all night long to make the bread that was fresh in the morning, and he didn't every day to taste the bread. So he would go to all the local good times, the big markets, the leading markets, lot of the Italian neighborhoods.
All the Italian neighborhoods.
You know, they could bread all night, waxing, you know, then like other Jerry's.
Right.
And everybody got a chance to work there. Everybody got to have a job. And you slice, pack the rolls, swept the floor.
Well, that's...
You couldn't stay up all night. You slept on top of all the flower beds.
You slept... Okay, I want you to listen to this. So hold on, Marisa, because I need to just reiterate what you said here. Because I talk to young people all the time about this. People say, oh, I don't really like that job. I didn't stay too long. I don't know. It's not the right thing for... When we... Italian kids... You had no choice. You went to work. You had to work with your parents. That's all. And I mean, I worked with my dad. It wasn't my calling, but I had to sweep floors, do shampoos, neutralize perms, you know, the laundry, all that stuff. And you guys, you worked in the bakery. Did you hear what Marisa just said? When they had to sleep, this is like they worked during the wee hours of the morning into the morning. They slept on the flour bags. So this is how we were raised, and we were talking about this last week because I had a couple of millennials on. They were very cute, and they just, you know, they have a different take on stuff. And I said maybe it's because we worked so hard that we didn't want our kids to work that hard, so we shifted things a little bit. But your kids are hard workers, right?
Yeah, I love that conversation. You know, that is, and it's funny. Like when we used to stuff to our parents, my father, like it, lots of people say, "Oh my God, I want to walk to school. It's like a mile away." And stuff. At least you had shoes. Yeah,
at least you had shoes. Right.
So now with my kids, when they say, "Oh, they start from grade 2," one, you know, 250,000 words in 2 hours, and then once they have to go to school the next day.
And have to go, right.
Then talking, you know.
I know.
But you know what, though? You think that now is a blessing, because that was all, you know, time working, you know, I'm and, you know, I met my husband there for kind of.
Oh, you did? You met your husband there. Look at your handsome husband. Where is Billy? White chocolate, right. We have named her husband Billy White Chocolate because he fancies himself a rapper sometimes, and so that's what we called him, White Chocolate. That was his nickname, as long as we can remember. Billy Raskowski took a nice Italian girl from the bakery and changed her name to a nice Polish name, Billy Raskowski. We were like, what is that name? But we love Billy. He's a great guy. So Marisa, anyway, what I want to do is eventually I want to get you out here on that bus, on that Greyhound bus, stops right next to my house, and then you're going to be on the show live, and we're going to talk about...
We're already looking into it. We're already looking into it.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Because we have stories. From our childhood. But what I do want to, because a lot of times on the show I do talk about immigrants and what we've contributed to this country. And I feel like our parents, you know, came here with the most amazing, hardworking intention, and they did a really good job. And we have to keep that going.
We have to keep that. And also, what's important about that is not only what they contributed, but I know my parents were very proud of the fact that they had the opportunity to contribute. Right. They wanted to work hard. They felt like it meant something, and they were honored to be part of that American system. They loved,
right.
I mean, my parents were so proud to be American. I mean, they loved it.
I know.
You know, the old country, they loved their culture. We love their culture.
Yeah.
But they were so proud to be able to have an opportunity.
Yeah.
To work hard, play hard, really get to know.
Yeah, let me. Another thing I loved about your parents were they were really stylish. Like, if you remember, like Rat Pack, all those Rat Pack guys and all that music and all that dancing, that's what my Uncle Johnny and my Aunt Louisa were. They were like, they dressed to the nine, like they worked really hard. But on the weekends, when they went dancing, and they dressed up, and also Gina and Joyce, like I think about your parents the same way. Right, Debbie and John?
Part of the crew.
The part of the crew.
People would watch movies to see like the reference. I felt like we lived to get them.
Yeah, and they would just, they really dressed, and they went out and they got their hair done, and the guys slicked back their hair. These were styling people. And when I think about them, Gina, I'm telling you, Gina always comes on and watches the show, and I think Joyce watches it the next day. But Gina and Joyce, I have a present for Marisa, and you guys, it's kind of a sort of matching present, and I did it for exactly that reason. So when I was trying to get the present to you guys, but I couldn't, Gina, so I will get it to you. I'll mail it to you guys. And Marisa, when you get it at my dad's, you'll see it's the same theme because your parents hung out, and it was that era.
Oh, yeah.
So
We can go. I mean, they partied, they danced, they went out to dinner.
they lived. Yep. Yes, the bowling bank. I forgot about the bowling banquets. That was serious business.
Tuesday night, the guy, my father's gang of friends,
Right.
bowling in Boston.
Oh my
And
God.
every generation when my brothers used to start me, they joined the bowling team.
Yep.
Girlfriends joined the bowling team. Like, people joined the bowling team, and then I think, like, they would have a Christmas party,
Yeah.
and then they would have, like, the trophy season at the end of the bowling season.
Oh my
And
God.
you would have thought they were dressing to go to the rink.
Oh, it was a big deal. All those parties were a big deal. One time, our grandfather Jerry, amazing man, they had this thing called the club. Okay, so all the guys belonged to the club. So once a year they'd have their big Christmas party at the club, and they would bring their wives. It was a big deal. They would dress to kill. And they came to a place I used to work at the time called Romy's Quarterdeck. It was like singing waiters and waitresses, and we did like 3 shows a night. It was a really big deal. And these guys were knocking each other over to pay the bill. It was the opposite of what you would think. They all wanted to pay the bill. And then the bill was taken care of, and then they said, well, we'll take care of the waitress, which was me and my friends. And do you know that they were each peeling money? Like, no, I want a tipper, I want a tipper. I made $500 that night, and that was in 1986. Can you imagine? That was like $2,000. Can you imagine getting a $2,000 tip from these Italian guys? Those were, I know. I got it. Well,
they were proud, though, because they were proud of you, too, for that.
Yeah, they were proud of us, and they could do, they were great, and they worked really hard.
Yeah.
All right, honey bunny. Listen, I'm going to bring my friend Fran on, and I'm going to, you have to come to New York, and then you have to be on the show. But I'm so glad that you called in. I love you so much.
I love you, too.
And I'm glad we talked about our great parents, because they are great parents. And they did some great things. We're very lucky, yeah. So sometimes you...
I'm not going to keep talking to Fran.
Okay, honey. And listen, tell your kids and everybody I love them. And you guys are watching on Facebook. That's my cousin Marisa Raskowski. And that's Gia and Isabella and Billy's mom. She's famous in Stoneham, Massachusetts. They all know her. That's your lunch lady. Your portion control, what? Lunch lady from Stoneham, Massachusetts. And she's famous at St. Pat's Parish, too. And those are other stories. We'll talk about that another day. All right.
That's another story, okay?
Another story. All right, I love you, honey.
Love you too.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that's my amazing cousin Marisa. And I wanted to bring her on for many reasons. She couldn't be here, so I said just call in. Now, I am going to bring on, and we'll talk about Marisa again in a little while. I'm going to bring in my friend Fran O'Neill. Everybody, Rizzo, clap, please. Fran O'Neill. So let's get you in the picture here, Fran. So Fran O'Neill, okay, she is my friend. Yeah, it's opposite of what you think. So, Fran and I met maybe, Fran, like 7 years ago?
Maybe 8, 9.
Okay. So we met, and I didn't know, we just met in a social setting around other friends that were in different lines of work, and I didn't know Fran was an artist. She was just a nice person and smart, and we had these great conversations. And then I would see on Facebook that she was doing a show, and so I automatically go to, a show, a singer, or something like that. But she is an artist. Would you always want to be a singer?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is that? I guess everybody secretly wants to be a rock and roller, right?
Somewhere
out there, yeah. But I'm so glad that what you did instead, because I am a huge fan. I said this in the promo, and I mean it. I'm not just saying this. You are my favorite living painter. Would you consider yourself a painter?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I hope I get it right. Now, in my eyes, you are just my favorite. You're my favorite. And I love art. So I go to a lot of museums. I buy what I can. So I am a huge fan of art. And to know your favorite living painter is a big deal. And I love Fran's work, and I'll see it, and it blows me away. And lots of times it just takes my breath away and evokes a lot of things. So I'm going to show you very quickly, and then I'll talk about, because I want to show it first. So this is the first piece I bought of Fran's way back when. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to put it up as close as I can. It's a little, if you could see this in person, what it is just, and I'll have you describe it. I'll just describe what I see. It's dimension upon dimension upon dimension. It's depth into depth into depth. Like, I feel with your paintings that I could walk through them, and that I'm inside them when I look at them. And I'm just, I'm lost. It's beautiful. It's lost in the best possible way. So it's hard to see in here, but there's a lot of detail upon detail upon detail. Okay, so that's that. So the day that I came to get that, I couldn't choose between these two, and so I ended up getting both of them. So I hang them together. Now this one seems a little more simple, but it's really not. If you can look deep in there, it goes all the way to the back. I don't know how you do this, Fran, but I'm pulled in all the way to the back. It's just like crazy how good this is. So anyway, and then here's another one that's just spectacular. Look at this. Now, okay, I don't know if you can see this, but when I saw this, I said to myself, oh, this is lit from the back. You know, sometimes people do that. It's glass and they light it from the back. But it's not. This is the way she paints. So, Fran, I don't know how you do this, but you pull light from a source that it blows my mind. And this, when I saw this, I wanted to cry. I mean it. I don't mean just like in a crazy way. I wanted to cry. It's so spiritual and beautiful. And green is my favorite color.
Thank you, Maria.
Well, you're welcome. Now, I know I talk a lot, so I have to get you into... so I want to ask you like a million questions, but... So tell me how you would describe yourself. You would describe yourself?
As an Australian New Yorker.
Australian New Yorker. So
who's been here for 20 years. And painter, artist, love to get to know anybody of any sort of, interest, and I love hearing what people actually think about my work more than me necessarily telling me what it's about, because to me, I make it, but you're the one that actually gets to live with it and interpret it and have your own relationship with it. So hopefully you get your own story once you begin to live and see the work.
Now, do you ever feel like these are pieces that you make, and do you ever get attached to a piece where you don't want to part with it?
Yes.
And what happened? Do you keep it?
When I was first starting to paint, there was a couple of paintings, and there was this one story where I was working. I was at this institution school, and we were doing a holiday sale, and they didn't quite have enough work, and they wanted to put up a big painting of mine, which was probably 4 foot by 8 foot, and I said, sure, you can put that, but know that it's not for sale. I don't want it to be sold.
Wow.
And I went out painting outdoors because I was doing landscape at that point, and came back, and the girl that had coordinated it had actually sold it.
Oh my God.
And I think she just totally forgot in all the, the sort of excitement of the show. And I had to say to her, we have to take it back because I'm not ready to get rid of this painting.
You're kidding me. Did you get it back?
I did.
Wow.
I did. See, sometimes you do a work and you know that there's something in it, but you have to live with it and understand it a little bit longer.
Oh my God. See, when you talk like that, my heart beats. It's so beautiful. Your artwork is so beautiful. And I agree with you that, like, when I'm not the kind of person that can choose art for other people. I can think I know what they like, but I really have always felt this, and it might even sound cliche. I know maybe some other people have said it, but I truly feel that art chooses you. It's just like animals. Like your pets choose you. Like when you go and wherever you get them, to a friend or the ASPCA or whatever you go, you'll see something in this animal that you're completely connected to, and you can't describe it. You've never met it before. So that's how I feel about art. I'll see something, and it just will take my breath away, or push my buttons, or evoke something that I'm either want to dive into or I don't want to dive into. You know, like when I went to took my nieces to see Alexander McQueen's the exhibit at the Met.
Yeah.
Okay, so gorgeous, but it rocked me.
Yeah.
That's why I knew it was a good exhibit. It was also curated in such an incredible way. But my nieces, so I guess it was about 4 years ago. They were like maybe 20 and 16 or something, and they both said it changed because they're both artists as well. And my oldest niece works with what she prefers is metal, to work with metal, and my younger niece is more like a costume design type person. But they both said it changed the way they looked at art. And so, but I think it can go either way. You know, you can be like drawn into something in a positive, but it chooses you.
I think it does, and I think there's also something for me. Like I also teach painting.
Oh, you do? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love teaching. And to me, it's something about like, you know, allowing someone to find their own language and to be brave enough to like think and talk about the work is really, really important. And learning how to appreciate your own point of view. I feel like these
as
days,
a teacher or as an artist?
As an artist, as a teacher. And, you know, if I'm teaching you, I'm hoping that you will find what you really connect with and that I'll be able to draw that out in a way. So I'm not trying to, you know, get you to paint like me. I'm more interested in what makes you tick.
Wonderful. That's a good teacher.
And that to me is like something where, you know, I only learned from the best. I feel like I had some amazing teachers. And I've been very lucky in that respect. And to me, it's like it's a gift to teach and to be able to, you know, I feel like the visual language of learning how to look and sit, and when you live with something.
And what do you mean by that? You've used that term before, when you live with something. You mean when it's in your space?
Yeah, like you must know this. Like
as a songwriter?
Some days, or even with the three that you have.
Oh, I love my.
You know, that they actually open up in different ways. And you experience them in a different way.
You know what I've done? Because you said, because one time I was looking at Fran's stuff. I always go and look at Fran's stuff. But sometimes I'll be like, Fran, should that go this way? Or how would you hang that? Or would you hang it this way? Or would you hang it this way? You see what's happening here, guys? I'm sure that you're all thinking, well, I would do that. Or no, I would do that. And Fran said, it's your call. Or whatever right? Didn't you say that?
Absolutely. Because to me, like, there's some pieces that I've done that, like, you know, even if I'm looking at this one, this is a very
let's bring that up. Now, how big is that?
That's actually, well, my fingers don't do it justice because it's actually 70 inches by 100 inches.
Oh my God! So that's like really big on a wall, right?
And
that's dark. Yeah.
Being like, you know, I can't imagine that being turned in different ways. To me, this one
has to be that
way. But with the ones that you
see, that to me looks like a dragon.
I know, it has a Chinese sort of feel to it.
No, not a Chinese dragon, like a really scary medieval dragon.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that,
Yeah, I mean, that's what now, this is just on a card, but imagine this on your wall. I mean, that would really shake me. I wouldn't be able to have this in my house. It would spook me out. But that's what I love about your work. It's like she has these like big, bold pieces, and then she has these pieces that are so light and spiritual. And
what's also interesting is I love it when I have like studio visits and you actually get like two people that have vastly different reactions to the work. Because
absolutely.
Then again, it's like, you know, when I go to a museum or a gallery, I either really want to love the work or hate it. I don't want to be sort of mediocre.
Right.
I want to actually either love it or hate it, because then it gives me something to be excited by or annoyed by, and then I get to actually make my work sort of thinking about that. But there's always like a million different things that go into making it too.
Oh, I can imagine. And how long? I know these are like almost sophomore questions, but I really am interested, and I think our listeners are interested. How long? So something this size. This is considered. What size is this considered?
That's 12 inches by 12 inches.
Okay,
that's small for me.
That's small. Yeah. Usually you work in very big.
Yeah.
Right.
6 foot.
So how long would this take you?
Well, normally when I'm doing them, I'll have about 5 or 6 on the go, and they can go from anywhere from an hour to 8 hours. And
so you're doing different ones at the same time? You're painting?
Yeah.
Really?
And because they'll react off each other. And
Oh
then
my
sometimes, like, I'll come back the next day and might alter it a little bit because, you know, sometimes I need a bit of space and distance to work out, you know, is that yellow in the background? Is that intense enough? Do I need to, like, just bring that up a little bit more? So, you know, it's sort of like, there was a great de Kooning story where, you know, he gets filmed while he's painting, and the journalist is watching and he's very excited. He's animated up and down, up and down, up and down. He runs into the journalist like 6 months later, and the journalist says to him, "So what happened to that painting? I just loved that painting." And de Kooning says to him, "Oh, I destroyed it. Like,
Oh, no.
I was just doing that for you. You didn't want to see me sitting and staring at a painting for like endless amounts of time."
Wow.
And then making small moves.
That is a great story.
And to me, that's sort of what it's about. Sometimes the paintings can happen really quickly, and then other times I just sit and look and like kind of dumbly look at it, waiting for it to tell me what it needs to do.
Wow.
Because I can be incredibly willful. And
This is so interesting because it's, like you said, it's telling you what to do. Just like the art. See, that's why I think your pieces are for me, the ones that I choose, are spiritually infused. Because you see, that other one scared me. So that wouldn't choose me. It just scares me. It's too intense.
I love that one.
You okay? See, so what do you love about that one? I mean, you put it on your card.
Well,
I mean, I
it's
appreciate
partly
it, but it scares
the
me.
scale, and it's partly the surprise of the colour right in the centre.
Right.
And, you know, in that one, it was interesting. I wonder if I should try and do this. This is
Try it. We can try to pull it up and put it up too. In the
but
meantime, while you're doing that, let me check on who's checking in while Fran's pulling things up. I kind of was trying to do this last week. I was having a hard time seeing who was... Okay, so we got Gina. Hi, Gina Savino. I love it. Rena Crugnali. Gia's there. Jeffrey Campbell. Caesar Ricci. Hi, Caesar. Now, Caesar, I have to have you on. Caesar is an incredible designer, clothing, dress designer. He makes amazing, like, big scale evening wear, like to die. But he's away. Emma Stevenson. Hi, Emma. She's a piano player and wonderful musician. Mark Hartman. Hi, Mark Hartman. He's also an incredible musical director. Yvette Plume. Hi, Yvette. Christy Wellington. Kate Greer. Kia. Hi, Kia. We just saw her. She's my Philly girl. I love Kia. Pedro. Okay. So many Hector Garcia. Oh, my God. So many great people have joined us. So let me just fill you in if you just joined us. This is Fran O'Neill. Fran O'Neill is... happens to be my friend, but she's my favorite painter, living painter. My favorite non-living painter is Edward Hopper. Because he breaks my heart. Beautiful light. Yeah, and he captures loneliness in the most beautiful... He makes me so sad in the best way. It makes me think and think and think, and I'm also pulled in to that. And I think, what's happening there? Did you know that? You probably do because you're the artist, and I'm just like, that his wife was so jealous that she didn't want him to paint anyone else but her. And he, of course, had to paint different looking women. He couldn't paint the same woman every time. And so he would change her hair color and her clothing, but it had to be her body. Because she was so jealous that he was looking at other women's figures that she would say, well, how do you know what that body looks like, or that body? How would you... So he had to always... If you look at Hopper's women, they have the same figure. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So that also broke my heart, that he was trapped in this thing where he couldn't get away, and he had to... That made me sad.
But I wonder if that's why his paintings are so fantastic too, because he had this world that was like constricted in a way, but he had to make the most out of it.
Right, and he did. And I think that is the true meaning of art, to take something, an experience, whether it's good or bad, and make something of it that brings out something in someone else. Yeah. So go ahead, Fran.
So I'm going to show you this fun sequence. So forgive me, because this is actually my phone that we're looking at.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
What am I writing? Okay. So this is a painting sequence. Now this is the same painting, and you'll see it.
Just bring up your voice a tiny bit, Fran. I don't want them to.
So you'll actually see it go through, if I can work out how to get the angle right.
All right.
Sequencing, and every time I've stopped, I've thought that maybe the painting's done.
Okay, so this is you creating a painting That's what you mean by sequencing, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now I got
that's
it.
stage 1.
This is stage 1.
2.
Oh boy.
Right? And the chair's there so you can see the scale of this.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So that's a real chair, not a toy chair.
Okay.
This is stage 3.
Wow. Oh my
Right.
God. Look at the difference.
And then last stage
That's crazy.
is this one.
Whoa! See, that to me almost, you know what I see? And because this is what I see when I see that. I see the beginning of the world.
Huh.
I see creation.
I like that. I'll take that.
Yeah, that's what I see, creation. So I did not know, Frank, because I am not a painter at all. That's not my thing. I love it and I appreciate it. Just like I'm not a dancer, but I appreciate dance. But painting, I would have no clue how to do that. But I'm so drawn to it, and that's amazing. I thank you for showing us that, the different.
You're welcome.
Now, do you also plan ahead, or do you have some sort of idea? Like I have friends that are jewelry designers, and they have or dress designers. You have to,
I've got to say, like, for
etch
me,
designs.
I love colour, and I love playing with as much variation within the colour as I can, and the scale and the parts to the whole, and really trying to create some sort of pathway through the space. But where the painting really starts for me is, like, I might start with an idea, and then suddenly at a certain point the painting, it'll just look terrible, and I'll be like, oh my God, I've got to, like, do something to this thing. And that's when the painting begins, because I'm reacting against something.
Right,
and I have to be in the moment.
So you're fighting almost with the painting.
Kinda.
It's two entities.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like you gave your painting a life, and then that very life is fighting you.
It's a fight, and then at a certain point,
Wow,
I think it's
this is
like,
intense.
well, it's a fight, or it's sort of like realizing that it's got a life of its own. And as much as I might be trying to, put my will on it and have these choices, the painting starts to tell me what it needs to be have done to it. And that's where, like, sitting back and waiting for it to tell me is crucial.
Oh my God, I could talk to you for hours.
But the one thing I wanted to say that you sort of brought up is, like, that I don't know how to sing. I don't know how to dance. I don't know how to do these things. So I think, when you're a creative artist of whichever medium is your choice, and you really get obsessed by it, hopefully you get to bring out things that no one else can, because you're your own voice.
Right.
And you bring something to the table that no one else can.
And you know what? I completely agree with that. And thank you for saying that. Let me just check on our time, because I want to talk about so many things with you. And it flies by. Okay, so what you just said is, so the reason I was telling Fran, the mission of this show is to, I know a lot of creative people, and being a creative person, I know what that life can be like, so it's interesting, the process of being a creative person. I love what you just said. I think this is very important for our listeners, because we have a lot of listeners that are creative, that want to move to New York, or perhaps the people listening tonight are visual artists, whatever you are, that I love what you just said about finding your own voice. This is very important, whatever you're good at. Because I'm sure this happens with visual artists as well. You try, maybe people think, oh, if I was more Pollock, if I was, maybe I should try that, or I should stick with abstracts, or maybe I should just do portraits, or whatever it is. For singers, it's, you'll see this like wave of things coming, like American Idol was really big, and then The Voice, and so then all of a sudden, because I also teach, all the kids will try to sound like that, and they all want those same arrangements. And then now the more like kind of folky sound is out, and all the girls are starting to pick that up. All the boys will start to sound like, the pop boys of, the Bruno Mars and all that. But what I always know a true artist, as opposed to just a student, is they completely have their own voice.
But it takes a lot of mistakes.
Yes, but that's the point.
And that's it is, and it's the journey, and that's sort of the excitement of it too.
But even in what you said about the paint, and then you hate it, and then you have to change it. Same thing with cooking. Chefs do this all the time. They'll make something, and it's like, oh, it's awful, I've ruined it. And a really good artist will not just throw that out. They will say, how can I balance this off? Well, now what can I do with it? Or it's too hot, so let me throw something else in it. And I think that is the key to being a good artists and all right across the board. It's
totally. And
right?
the thing that you were talking about too, like that sequencing that I showed,
that was
each
so cool.
point, I actually thought, oh, this is something new and different for me. And maybe I should like stop right here and do nothing else to it.
How do you know when it's done, Fran?
Very good question. Sometimes I don't. And I've done sequencing before where the first one, when I look back in hindsight, is the best.
Really?
Yes. So
what do you do then?
Well, it's just got to move on. What's that?
Yeah.
But, it's sort of one of those things where you just have to keep things going and you have to take a risk. Like, to me, to take the risk to let the painting hopefully get a new life or something even more in there that I'm not expecting, because I want the painting to surprise me.
Oh, I love this.
I don't want to be a painter that, I might have a style that people can recognize, but I also want to be able to surprise myself and be surprised by what happens on the canvas.
Wow, that's amazing. And boy, so listen, before the time flies away, let's show you. May I do this?
Yes,
I want you to talk. I'm going to hold it up how you can reach Fran or go. Do you have a studio that people can go see you at, or should they just follow you? So Fran, tell us about this. How can people find your artwork?
Okay, so that's my email there, which is NARF, so that's Fran backwards.
Oh,
right.
See?
So narf1771@gmail.com, and my website is www.franoneil.com, and that is FRANONEILL.com.
Okay.
And there's my phone number as well, 917-650-8468.
Okay.
So my studio is in Long Island City in New York.
I've been there. It's beautiful.
Which is, from Midtown, it's like 10-15 minutes.
It's so quick. You can't believe it. What is it, the F train, right?
Yeah, the F train, 21st Street.
It's so easy. And then Fran's studio is literally like 2 blocks from there.
Yeah, and I love doing studio visits because I learn a lot. Like, sometimes what you bring to the studio can help me see the work in a new way too.
Wow.
And then that dialogue, becomes like a 3-way conversation between you, me, and the painting.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And that sort of brings this different level of, what I thought and what you see, and then what the painting is telling us both is something else.
Do you have shows coming up?
Let's see, I'm actually going to be in a group show in Hathaway Contemporary.
Where's that?
Down in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Sears Payton is a new gallery that I've just started working with in Chelsea here, and they're great. They're on 11th Avenue, and I'm hoping that,
How do you spell it? So Sears,
SEARS. Payton is PEYTON.
Okay, and that's in
Chelsea.
Okay.
On 11th Avenue.
That's really a big deal.
It is, and it's fantastic.
Well, but you're a big deal, Fran. No, I'm telling you, listen, I just happen to know Fran. She's my friend. But when you see something that is just exquisite, I think that you should tell the world about it and tell people about it. And I was telling Fran earlier, it's not always easy for the person to tell the world about it. They're the artist. We're good at what we do, but we're not always good at promoting ourselves, nor is it comfortable. Sometimes it's awkward. We talk about that. Same thing with me. It's like awkward to promote yourself sometimes because you're like, you just want to be the artist. So, but I will tell you that you must, I don't care what you do, but you have to go to franoneil.com and see her work. You cannot believe this. And if you can get to any of these galleries, if you're someone that does collect art and you want to own a Fran O'Neill,
and I should also put a plug in for 2 galleries in Australia that I do work with.
Okay.
TW Fine Art in Brisbane and also BMG in Adelaide. So both very great galleries. So, I'm very lucky to be working with some amazing, amazing galleries.
Now you ship, I know because I was talking to you once and you were shipping paintings down somewhere. So do you do that, or do you carry them, or how do you transport your paintings?
A bit of both. I was lucky enough to spend a bit of an extended time back in Australia recently, and I did all the work for a show that I had in a David and Schweitzer at the beginning of this year. And what I did is I unrolled it, put it on a roll, and I took it on the plane with me, and it cost me $7.
Wow.
Yeah, and so then when I got here to New York, I had to remake the stretcher bars, restretch them, do all that. But it's much cheaper for me to do that.
Because that would be expensive, right?
Yeah, it can be, especially if you're sending them like stretched. But I have definitely, sent paintings internationally and have, things sort of happening in different places all the time.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I had a show in Italy this year.
Did you? Where in Italy? The motherland?
No, I can't remember. I want to say not Mantua.
Was it south or was it,
south?
South.
It was south.
Okay, we'll have to. That's all right. Just at some point you could post it on there. That would be so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So let me take us just a second because I want to talk about our food. We do have a food section of the show called "Go Ahead, Keep Eating." And Fran, you've seen this. Oh my goodness, time flies. Okay, so today, what did I make? The most Italian thing on the planet Earth. Meatballs.
Oh
That's
God,
it.
all those likes.
I know.
Crazy.
Thank you, everybody, because I posted that I was actually cooking it. Aren't they funny? So I made
I love that.
giant meatballs, and the pasta I used. I know I did this pasta a few weeks ago, but I'm so into it right now because it's wintertime. It's called snowflake pasta. So it is, as my friend Linda would call it, it's macaroni. Right, Linda? We had that discussion today on, I posted this video. So on the discussion between pasta, macaroni, the pasta is like the long, linguine, all that stuff. And then the other stuff is macaroni. So this is meatballs and macaroni. This is the most Italian thing you could eat.
And I want to say that I get to try this later.
Yes, you do. And Fran, I made it today. So that's just our display. But I made it today. And I'm so glad that we are going to break bread. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I am very big on bringing back with the show's giving me a vehicle to bring back, is people actually talking to each other. Listen, I use my cell phone just as much as anybody else. And sometimes I'm not talking to the people around me. And so I'm trying to. Cell phones are great. I use them for everything. But we need to start talking to each other again. And I have people over and we eat just the way my parents used to do it and Maurice's parents used to do it. We used to sit around tables, and Gina and Joyce's parents used to do it. And now my Aunt Anna, my Uncle Joe, my Uncle Nicky, all those great people that were my role models. They sat around tables and they ate and talked and laughed and joked with each other and turned on Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and Elvis Presley, and that's what they did. And I grew up that way, and I miss that. So I try to create that with my friends, and I just happen to have very talented friends. So I bring them into my home, and you guys get to meet them, and I'm so glad that you also come into our home and do that. So that's why there's food, because with Italians, it's about that. So Fran, you grew up in Australia. Mm-hmm. And you live here now. You're a New York resident. Is there a food in Australia that is, because I don't know anything that would be Australian food. What would be something that?
Well, O'Neill's a very Irish name, and so I grew up with very much of an English-Irish sort of, heritage. So with that, it's like, the meat and 3 potatoes and things like that. But, Australia has an incredible Italian scene.
Do they really? I didn't know that.
In Melbourne.
Oh, really?
Like there's an LA, New York between Sydney and Melbourne, right? There's the rivalry between those two cities.
Oh, okay.
And I grew up near Melbourne, not in Melbourne, but it has the best Italian and the best Greek food there. So.
Oh, I love Greek food.
And I've got to say, the influence of Asia has been outstanding.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Now, before I forget, speaking of Australia. So I was telling you this when you first came over tonight. I saw a picture of these caves in Australia.
Yes.
And when I first saw them, they're breathtaking. And I thought, oh my God, that looks like a Fran O'Neill. And then I asked you about it, and you said that. Tell me what you said.
I visited a lot of different caves in Australia. Genola Caves is one in particular in New South Wales. It is incredible. But I wouldn't say that I was thinking of them when I developed my painting or anything with that. But it's a good, I love seeing things like that. I also love when I'm, swimming underwater. And the water does something with the light, the way it
that's what your paintings do for me. It's that.
So
I'm going to show these again because I lose my mind with Fran's paintings. Look, you could put them anywhere. This is amazing to me. Okay. Look at this. I'm just going to blow your mind. Now, but this one, forget it. it makes me cry. Now, look at this. Look at these lights. You would think there were lights behind this. There are no lights, people. This is Fran's mind. And I feel like there's spirituality in this. That is so pure. And you know what? I just have to say this. I know we're running out of time, and I don't like to get political, but this is what I am going to... I am opinionated. Everyone knows that. This is what is important to remember. Do not let religions hijack your spirituality, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That's what somebody wrote somewhere. I didn't make that up. I read it somewhere. And stay open to letting the light that is a higher vibration come through. Don't be so angry at an institution that you block your own light as an artist. Let it come through you, and I feel that that's what you do with your paintings, Fran. I just feel that.
It's interesting because a great painter that I admire much, Bill Jensen, he says something very similar to that, where he talks about, it's not him in the end that's painting. There's something else coming through that paints for him.
Jimmy, what's up? How much time we got?
Less than a minute.
Less than a minute. Okay, we flew by again. Okay,
thank you for having me around.
You are so welcome. Thank you, Fran, I'm so honored that you were here. So Fran O'Neill is our artist tonight. She's a painter. She's amazing. Please go to www.franoneal.com. Check her out. And go on her website, and you're going to be blown away. Thank you to my cousin Marisa Raskowski. I love you to pieces. I think our parents are very happy that we did this tonight. And Merry Christmas to all our Italians and non-Italians. May the light of love be with you, and don't let other stuff get in your way. Enjoy the rest of your holiday, and have a Happy New Year. Thanks, everybody. Good night. Come back next week.